Before anyone gets upset, this isn't a hate video. STAYC is still a successful group with a dedicated fan base. The question isn't whether they're flops. The question is why they went from being one of the most exciting girl groups in K-pop to a group that no longer dominates conversations the way they once did. STAYC didn't fall off because people got tired of them. STAYC fell off because they stopped sounding like STAYC. I know that's going to upset some people, but hear me out. A lot of fans blame promotion, other blames the company, some blame competition from newer groups. But if the music was still hitting the way it did during So Bad, ASAP, Stereotype, and Run to You, I don't think we'd even be having this conversation. Because at one point, STAYC wasn't just another girl group. They had an identity. The moment you heard a STAYC song, you knew it was STAYC. My argument is simple. STAYC's decline wasn't caused by lack of talent, visuals, or effort. It happened because the group gradually moved away from the things that made them special in the first place. The melodies became less memorable, the songs became less distinctive. I think the biggest issue was the music. Before ASAP, before Stereotype, before Run to You, there was So Bad. I think people forget just how important that song was. When So Bad came out in 2020, it didn't sound like what most girl groups were doing at the time. The song was packed with massive synths, emotional melodies, and an almost nostalgic feeling that made it instantly recognizable. Remember, STAYC wasn't debuting under a big three company. They weren't coming from a massive label with a built-in fandom. They were essentially rookies from a small company trying to compete against groups with far bigger advantages. Yet, somehow, So Bad immediately got people talking. But what really stood out wasn't just the song. It was the attention the members were receiving. For a rookie group from a small company, STAYC's live performances were pulling in view counts that many established groups would have been happy with. Even more shocking was what happened with Yoon. Her individual So Bad fan cams started reaching view counts that were extremely rare for a newly debuted idol from an unknown company. Back then, it was uncommon for a rookie from a small label to pull in millions of views on a fan cam. Usually that level of attention was reserved for idols from major agencies, or members who had already built a following before debut. Yoon was doing it during the group's debut era. That tells me something important. People weren't just listening to STAYC. People were actively interested in STAYC. They were checking out performances, they were learning members' names, they were watching fan cams, they were becoming invested. Then came ASAP. Instead of copying So Bad, STAYC evolved their sound while keeping their identity intact. One of STAYC's biggest strengths was that they sounded different from everyone else. When ASAP came out, it had a hypnotic quality. The melody felt repetitive in the best way possible. It kept pulling listeners back in and made you want to replay the song. Stereotype continued that trend with a chorus that was easy to sing along to and instantly memorable. Run to You showed another side of STAYC. It was energetic, melodic, and felt unique compared to what other girl groups were releasing at the time. Whether you liked every song or not, you could instantly recognize a STAYC song. That musical identity became one of their greatest strengths. Now we're going to move to the second point. Strong melodies were the secret weapon. A common factor in STAYC's biggest hits was melody. So Bad, ASAP, Stereotype, Run to You all featured vocal lines that listeners naturally wanted to sing along to. The melodies carried the songs. Even people who weren't fans could remember parts of the chorus after hearing them only a few times. Certain chord progressions create emotional tension and release that make songs feel addictive. STAYC's earlier music relied heavily on those melodic moments. The songs stayed in your head long after they ended. Moving on to point 3. Yoon and Sieun often delivered the most memorable moments. Another common factor was how the group's strongest vocal colors were utilized. Many of STAYC's most memorable moments came from Yoon and Sieun sharing or alternating key parts of the song. Their voices added contrast, emotion, and energy. 난 네가 필요해 내 머릿속에 너로 가득해 baby 처음부터 so baby 멈출 수 없어 내 맘이 아파 My love so young 달콤한 날 달콤한 When listeners think back to STAYC's biggest hits, many of the killing parts involve one of these two members. This helped give the group a recognizable sonic identity. Just to be clear, this isn't an argument that only Yoon and Seeun matter. Far from it. One of STAYC's greatest strengths has always been that every member brings a distinct vocal color to the group. Jae has one of the most recognizable deep tones in K-pop. Isa has a smooth, slightly raspy vocal texture that adds warmth and emotion. Seeun has a soft, clean tone that blends beautifully with the other members. Sumin brings stability. The problem isn't the members. The problem is how the voices are being utilized. What made early STAYC songs work so well was that the producers seemed to understand which voices complemented each other. Yoon and Seeun often handled the explosive, memorable, high-energy moments. Isa and Seeun worked beautifully together in verses and transitioning sections because their tones flowed naturally into each other. Jae and Sumin created contrast. Jae's deeper voice gave weight, while Sumin helped balance it out. Everyone had a role, everyone had a purpose, and those roles created chemistry. Lately, however, it feels like some songs are assigning parts based on line distribution rather than vocal compatibility. You'll hear Jae and Sumin carrying sections that require a brighter, more energetic delivery. You'll hear Isa handling moments that need a bigger vocal peak. Isa shines bright in bridges. She shines in final choruses. She shines when she's adding texture and emotion.
You're my boy, and I'm yours for sure, yeah. 색안경을 끼고 보지 마요 난 좀 다른 여자인 내 같은 화려해도 아직 두려운 걸 you should know.
That's where her voice becomes unforgettable. Likewise, Jae's deep tone is most effective when it's creating contrast, not necessarily when it's carrying the melodic counterpiece of a song. Even though her greatest strength is often creating atmosphere, emotion, and smooth transitions. The issue isn't that these members can't sing those parts, they absolutely can. The issue is that certain vocal combinations naturally create more excitement than others. Think about it like casting actors. A great actor can play many roles. That doesn't mean every role is the perfect fit. The same applies to vocal production. When STAYC's producers matched the right voices with the right sections, the songs felt effortless.
너만이 알 수 있는 듯 No, no 너만이 알 수 있는 듯 No, no Yeah, 너만이 알 수 있는 듯 No, no Yeah, 너만이 알 수 있는 듯 No, no Yes, I know Yeah, 넌 beautiful monster Oh, oh, oh Yes, I know Yeah, 넌 beautiful monster Oh, oh, oh 사랑이라는 이름에 용기가 필요해 사랑이란 이름에 용기가 필요해 This is not a game, this is not so cool 혼자 꾸는 행복한 이 꿈 This is not a game, this is not a show 혼자 꾸는 행복한 이 꿈 너를 떠올리는 향기는 so blue Yeah 너를 떠올리는 향기는 so blue Yeah 가끔 차가웠고 사이도 널 안고 있어도 가끔은 차가웠고 사이도 널 안고 있어도
When the vocal pairing feel mismatched, the songs can lose some of the magic that made earlier STAYC releases so memorable. And I think that's something that's been happening more often in recent years. Okay, moving on to point 4. Beautiful Monster was the first warning sign. Many people point to later releases, but I personally think the first sign of trouble appeared with Beautiful Monster. The song wasn't a total disaster. In fact, it wasn't a disaster at all. In fact, many fans love it, including me. It's one of my favorite STAYC releases. However, it didn't connect with the public the same way So Bad ASAP's Stereotype or Run to You did. For the first time, it felt like STAYC released a song that didn't automatically become a major moment. This suggested that the group's momentum wasn't invincible.
Yes, I know Yeah, 넌 beautiful monster Oh, oh, oh 넌 날 아프게 하고 또 치료해 Ooh, Yes, I know Yeah, 넌 beautiful monster Whoa, oh, oh Love is ooh, love is ooh
Which brings me to the next point. Point 5, Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear was a hit, but it changed expectations. Teddy Bear proved STAYC could still produce a major hit. The chorus was simple, the choreography was easy to follow, the concept was bright and accessible, the public responded positively. However, Teddy Bear may have also changed the direction many people associated with the group. Some fans who love the more sophisticated or unique side of STAYC felt the group was moving toward a younger and more childlike image. Whether that's fair or not, it became part of the conversation. Point 6. The music started feeling less unique. This is the heart of my argument. The problem wasn't necessarily that the newer songs were bad. The problem was that they felt less distinctive. Earlier STAYC songs felt like songs only STAYC could have released. Some of the later releases felt like songs that could have been given to multiple different groups. For example, when they released BEBE, a lot of people were comparing that release to LE SSERAFIM releases, to Kiss of Life songs. People were saying this sounds a lot like something Kiss of Life or LE SSERAFIM or IVE would release either as a B-side or a title track. Point 7. Following trends instead of creating them. Early STAYC often felt ahead of the curve. Later releases sometimes felt like they were responding to trends rather than setting them. When a group becomes known for chasing what's popular instead of defining what's popular, audiences begin to lose interest. Fans don't just want good songs, they want a reason to choose your group over every other group competing for attention. Alrighty, the last point, point 8. Less singing, more talk singing. Modern K-pop has increasingly moved toward chant-heavy choruses, talk singing, and viral moments designed for short-form content. So this is not only a STAYC thing. This is across the K-pop board. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. However, STAYC's greatest strength was always the melody. The further they moved away from strong melodic hooks, the further they moved away from the thing that originally made them special. To conclude my video, I don't think STAYC lost momentum because of visuals. I don't think they lost momentum because of talent. I don't think they lost momentum because the members suddenly became less interesting. I think they lost momentum because the music gradually moved away from the qualities that made people fall in love with STAYC in the first place. A unique identity, strong melodies, memorable vocal moments, and songs that felt unmistakably STAYC. And with that, STAYC girls, it's going down.